Hey everyone, welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer. Today, we're digging straight into a truly fascinating document from November 2013. It's a joint announcement that marked the union of two very distinct, intentional eco-villages. On one side, you have the second home of Lifechanyuan, which originated in China, and on the other, the Konohana family, based in Japan. We're going to unpack exactly how these two communities decided to bridge their national and cultural divides to forge a totally shared, incredibly ambitious path forward.
So think about this for a second. What actually happens when two intentional communities from entirely different nations decide to just become one? I mean, we hear about corporate mergers all the time, right? Or international political treaties. But a merger of communities? A merger of entirely shared lifestyles and deeply held philosophies? That is incredibly rare. So this explainer is going to walk you through exactly how they structured this unique cross-border experiment, the core values that drove them to do it, and the massive global ambitions they honestly hoped this union would kickstart.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, a historic cross-border union sealed by the November 11, 2013 agreement.
Okay, let's dive into this structure, because to really understand the scale here, you have to look at how they viewed each other. They didn't just see this as a casual partnership. They literally called themselves ethnic brothers and sisters. They wanted to unite as one big family, the whole shebang. Structurally, they designed this brilliant reciprocal merger. It's almost like a giant puzzle fitting perfectly together. Lifechanyuan officially became the Chinese branch of the Konohana family. But at the exact same time, the Konohana family became the fifth branch of Lifechanyuan. It's a perfect structural reflection of their goal for East Asian harmony. A completely balanced, mutual integration where both communities hold equal weight and identity within the other.
Now, you might be wondering, how on earth do you actually manage a newly formed big family operating across two different countries with two completely different cultures? Well, the source document lays it out pretty simply and very democratically. It states that hereafter the affairs of this big family will be discussed by all members of both communities. So they basically committed to a unified collective approach to management. This wasn't going to be run by some small board of directors sitting in a room. It required the active participation and consensus of the entire combined membership.
Moving right along to Section 2, core values and philosophy, and how they governed a shared communal life.
Sustaining a structural merger like that? Yeah, that requires a deeply shared philosophical foundation. The announcement clearly lists their three founding pillars. First, to revere the greatest creator. Second, to revere life. And third, to revere nature. But actually, they don't just stop at reverence. The document explicitly states their shared goal is to create a system where human beings, nature, and society are all able to coexist harmoniously. They really see themselves as an active model for all human beings, exploring new paths for building what they call an ecological civilization.
And because of those core values, they define their resulting lifestyle in a very specific way. They identify it as a highly civilized and absolutely communal society. This is absolutely crucial to understand. They view this intense level of communal living not as a step backward into the past, no way. They see it as a highly advanced, civilized model that is totally necessary for achieving true sustainable living and serving as a blueprint for that ecological civilization we just mentioned.
And I love this next part because it beautifully illustrates their internal priorities. The quote is, "Before cultivating fields, cultivate the soul." It's just a really striking poetic ethos, isn't it? Even though we're talking about eco-villages focused on sustainable living and agriculture, the document clearly states that their absolute top priority is to purify and beautify each member's soul. Only through that internal, spiritual cultivation do they believe they can actually achieve their high levels of self-sufficiency. Basically, the inner work has to precede the outer work.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, the dream of one world, shifting from local unity to global ambition.
So as you'll see, this wasn't just about two eco-villages getting along. They actually harbored massive outward-facing global ambitions. But how do you navigate the real world of international borders and laws with ambitions that big? Well, their stated stance on governance is very clear. They explicitly state they will comply with the UN Charter and all national constitutions and laws. They emphasize ultimate respect for central governments and leaders. However, and this is the real game changer here, they state that in the face of all interests, they will not prioritize the interests of their individual nations. Instead, they're going to prioritize the interests of all humanity above everything else. It's a very careful balancing act. Ultimate respect for local law, for sure, but with a core allegiance that completely transcends the nation-state.
And that global allegiance drives a staggering ultimate ambition: over 1,000.
To put that into perspective, the document states their continued strive is to unite over 1,000 communities across the world into one single, massive international family. The union between Lifechanyuan and the Konohana family wasn't the end goal. It was, quite literally, just the prototype.
They actually framed this November 2013 agreement as an epoch-making first step. By proving that a Chinese community and a Japanese community could bridge their differences and merge into one absolutely communal family, they believed they were taking the very first great step toward realizing the human dream of one world, one family. They basically aimed to show the world that a united, harmonious existence is in fact possible.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder today. Could a localized union of eco-villages truly be the blueprint for a united global family? Can this philosophy, of cultivating the soul and prioritizing humanity over the nation-state, actually scale to over 1,000 communities? It is a truly fascinating vision of the future, all born from a single document back in 2013. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.